Hi YouTube, my name is Whitney Luna and this is my first ever YouTube video. Um, yeah, I've been trying to shoot all morning and finally I seem to have gotten the grasp of things. I kind of changed the background because the background isn't the way I want it to be, but yeah, this is where we're gonna go. Thank you for clicking on my video. I wanted to talk about Moldavite specifically because it's the kind of the hot topic right now, but also because it's the reason behind this whole channel. It's the reason behind my crazy spiritual ascension that I've had in the past year. Technically, I've been a spiritualist for about 8, 9 years. I'm a self-taught like Reiki healer. I'm a self-taught, I guess you could say, energy healer or chakra clearer, whatever. And yeah, I've been in the game for like 8, 9 years. But about a year ago, I kind of hit rock bottom spiritually, specifically because I. I was just so exhausted all the time. I was angry all the time. And, this is after years of meditating every day, doing chakra clearing and everything. And what made it interesting was that even though I'd been doing this for so long, I never really had healed the inner child or worked with this shadow side. And, before all that, I'd had so many dreams about it. Like, I'd had dreams about me holding myself as an infant, which is actually a sign of, inner child healing. I also had dreams of snakes like crawling on my shoulders, which has to do with Kundalini. So, for a long time, my spirit had been telling me that I needed to heal the dark side of me, the traumatic part of myself, like the part that I've been through trauma, through abandonment, through, abuse, neglect, all that stuff. Because, yeah, as much as spirituality is love and light, you need to understand that you need to accept that darker side of you, whether you need to heal it or whether you can embrace it in a positive way, not like hurting anybody. So I'm going to start by showing you my pieces of Moldavite that I bought over the past year. This was the first one I bought. This was the second one I bought. And this was the last piece I got here. It's actually shaped like a boot here. And it basically catapulted my energy ascension or whatever. Because like I said, I was at a very dark spot. Even though everything around me was incredible, I had a great life. Everyone around me was fantastic. I had a great life change that I'm not going to talk about here, but really just changed my life for the better. I was probably the most miserable I'd ever been. And, I went to bed angry. I try to fall asleep if I could fall asleep without, some type of sleep aid or without listening to a really boring podcast to put me down. For the most part, I wasn't sleeping well. I was irritable all the time. Even when I had no reason to be irritable, I was just always so angry. But for some reason, during this dark time in my life, I was really drawn to Moldavite. And Moldavite is something that I'd heard about 10 years before, but I was never really drawn to it because I was more into the pretty stones like rose quartz or clear quartz. Those were usually my crystals. I remember seeing Moldavite, but I was never drawn to it. It just wasn't a pretty crystal to me. But during this time, for some reason, I was like, if I don't get this crystal, I'm going to lose everything because I just was not a good person to be around. Plus, everyone around me was just getting irritated. It was just, and the best way to describe it also is I'd kind of lost my spark for life. Everything felt like a chore. Even the things that I used to love, like I've always been a gym rat, I've always been about like taking care of myself, and that I just didn't have energy to go to the gym. If I did go to the gym, I'd go once and then I'd be out for like 3 or 4 days. Like I was just so exhausted. And I had tests done, I had blood tests done, I had my thyroid checked, everything came back regular and I knew it, or normal or whatever, and I knew it would because deep down I knew this was a spiritual problem I was having. So I end up researching Moldavite. I watch tons of videos on it. I read all these blogs, everything, so I know what to expect. And I ordered a piece from one of my favorite sellers on Instagram. And I waited. As soon as the crystal arrived, I didn't even cleanse it. I didn't do anything like that. The first thing I did was I took it out of the box and I put it on my necklace and I wore it. And right away, I didn't get that warmth that people talk about. Instead, I got like a head rush and random memories popping up. Like memories of me walking down the street when I was 5 years old, memories of me going to get an ice cream when I was a child. Like, not really, I guess you could say important memories, but just memories just from the past coming up. And it was intense. I went out and got a coffee and nearly ran a stop sign because my mind was in like such a crazy fog. I'd never experienced anything like that in my life. After that, I also was very thirsty. I was drinking lots of water. And I also noticed that anytime I had a negative thought, I'd accidentally break something. I'd be putting dishes away and I'd accidentally break a plate, or, I'd break a glass. Like, this happened for about a week. I also noticed that I was seeing a lot of synchronicities with numbers. I was seeing 777, 333, which really isn't out of the ordinary, but it was overload. Like, I would see so many synchronicities within like 1 hour, which was crazy. So after that, I didn't really experience anything else. I did order a piece of Libyan glass with it because what I read was that it helps to ground you, and I was not grounded at all. And I did have an intense meditation with Libyan glass, which will be a completely different video. But so I just want to kind of stick with Moldavite for this one. So after that initial, weird synchronicities, head rush, all that stuff, I started to get really intense messages from spirit or source or whatever it is that you call it. And one of those messages was that you need to unlock the blockages within your chakras. And that was kind of new to me because, like I said, I'd been working on them for years, but it was kind of all surface level. Like, I would just meditate and I would just picture them spinning, and that was about it. I never really delved deeper and deeper into really understanding the elements behind them, how the elements can actually be used to heal that chakra. When those chakras are developed, what can actually cause them to not properly develop. Like, there were so many things coming at me at once from spirit that it was like I wrote down everything because I was like, I need to write this down or whatever. But the thing that frightened me the most from Moldavite was it told me that I needed to start a YouTube, which I thought was even crazier because I was like, at the time I was so full of fear. At the time I couldn't work out, so I was on the heavier side and I wasn't happy with the way I looked. And it was just a lot to be told that you need to start a YouTube, especially when you're just not balanced and whatever. It frightened me. So as time went on and, I got into healing and, I healed my inner child and I went through probably the most intense energy purge I've ever experienced in my life. That's when I actually had the nerve where I was like, you know what? Okay, now's the time to share what I can with people that are hurting. Because I always kind of got the vibe that I was meant to help people heal, but I just wasn't sure how to like execute the thing. Like, I was like, I don't know what to do. I mean, I'd done energy healing on other people and I'd helped other people that way, but I wasn't sure how to actually explain it and how to kind of be a guide for people that are hurting and really need that release of old pain in order to ascend forward. Because I honestly feel like the world is hurting right now. I feel like, with what's going on, I feel like a lot of people are at home and having to sit with that trauma and having to sit with that pain, because it's not like before where you could go to a club and drink it all away. You can't go to an event and, kind of interact with other people to get yourself out of your head and not sit with your pain. Whereas now we're kind of forced to. And that's why I feel like now I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm in a better spot. Now I can share what I've learned with other people. And that's basically the reason behind this channel. I kind of want to focus more on people who are a little bit more spiritually advanced, specifically because people with a stronger, I feel like, spiritual experience, they're going to know what to expect. Whereas people that aren't really spiritual, when I tell them that, look, inner child healing is intense, they're going to be like, okay, whatever. Because that's actually what I thought for a long time, is that I was like, oh, whatever. But it's probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life. You have flashbacks, you have times where you seriously feel like you're losing your mind, and you don't need to be only strong for yourself, but you need kind of a strong backing as well. So before we delve deeper into, inner child healing, things like that, I want you to make sure that you have a strong backing, a strong, friend that you can call when you're kind of feeling down and when you're like, okay, you know what, I'm losing my mind, I need someone to talk to, or, a family member, something like that. Because, like I said, I've been in this game for a long time, but there were days where I seriously thought I was losing my mind and I needed to talk to someone. I needed to, kind of say, okay, look, I'm going through this. Just, sit with me for a moment. Things are really dark right now, because I honestly feel like we all need, somebody to kind of lean on sometimes. So, yeah, that's kind of the video that I wanted to start with. I will be uploading, I'd like to upload a couple videos a week in regards to healing. So, I thought about starting different platforms in order to kind of get my videos out there. But I'd prefer to start with, actually, you know what? Because to me, it isn't about being a YouTube star. It's just about helping people in the best way that I can. So I firmly believe that the people that are meant to will find my channel and will benefit from it. And yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to say today. Thank you for watching my video. I love you even though I don't know you. Have a great day.